Hello, everyone. Happy Women's Month. I'm Donnabel Kuizon-Cruz, President and CEO of Prime Energy Resources Development, and you're tuned into Power Podcast.
Welcome to Power Podcast. This is a channel where you can listen to in-depth discussions of issues relevant to the Philippines energy sector. Power Podcast is a production of Power Philippines, the only online publication in the country dedicated to covering energy development across the archipelago. We cover all news and issues that spark meaningful conversations among members of our growing online community. We share the belief that sustaining the growth of the energy sector is vital to the growth of the country itself.
We always look up when we marvel at progress. As lights shine brightly above, there is power beneath us, a treasure nestled under the ocean depths, helping to make it possible. Natural gas. And as we move towards an increasingly energy-dependent future, the demand for the facility supplies to 4 power plants in Luzon, contributing to up to 20% of the island's power requirements. The operation of Malampaya also displaces over 1.35 million kilograms of CO2 per hour, a significant reduction in emissions unachievable with power generated solely from coal or fuel oil. This commitment to energy security and positive environmental impact is strengthened more than ever with an all-Filipino consortium at the helm of Malampaya's operations. Prime Energy, UC38 LLC, and PNOC Exploration Corporation, collectively sharing the vision of a stable, reliable, and cleaner energy future for the country. Across megacities and small communities of Luzon, from factories to schools, the power of Malampaya is felt far and wide. It's a testament to our expertise as a reliable, safe, ethical, and long-term energy provider, powering enterprise, the economy, and our way of life. It's a monumental venture built on championing Filipino ingenuity and talent, and bringing positive change to individuals and communities alike. It's our investment in a low-carbon, environmentally responsible future, realized through integrity, social consciousness, and actions that benefit humanity and the planet. This is Malampaya, where expertise meets responsibility, where energy and sustainability run deep. This is power that empowers.
Good day. Thank you for joining us in this special episode of Power Podcast. Whether you are watching on Facebook, YouTube, or listening to us via Spotify, Apple, or Google Podcasts, we hope you will enjoy listening in. I'm your host, Mai Tanglao. For over 2 decades, the Malampaya gas field has been a cornerstone of the Philippines' energy security, providing a vital source of indigenous natural gas, reducing dependence on imported fuel, and helping stabilize electricity costs. Originally developed and operated by a consortium led by Shell Philippines Exploration, Malampaya has played a crucial role in powering the nation. In 2022, Prime Energy Resources Development under Prime Infra of Mr. Enrique Razon took over the lead consortium, stepping in at a critical time when Malampaya's reserves were declining and the country's energy future hung in the balance. Now, the challenge is clear. How can Prime Energy maximize what remains of Malampaya
while exploring new opportunities for indigenous gas. At the helm of this transition is a leader who embodies both resilience and innovation, Ms. Donnabel Kuizon-Cruz, President and CEO of Prime Energy Resources Development. As a woman leading a major player in a traditionally male-dominated industry, she is not only shaping the future of Malampaya, but also paving the way for a greater inclusivity in the energy sector. Ms. Donna, welcome to Power Podcast and Happy Women's Month.
Thank you for having me here, Amai. It's a pleasure to be here. Happy Women's Month to you all.
So, Ms. Donna, before we dive into Prime Energy's plans for Malampaya, let's take a moment to celebrate Women's Month. It's wonderful to see powerful women like you in the energy sector. So, as a leader in a traditionally male-dominated industry, how has your journey been, and what challenges have you faced along the way?
My journey to where I am now actually started where I grew up. I grew up in this small fishing town in southern Leyte. Life was simple there and pretty poor. And there was a time during the oil crisis when brownouts were very rampant, and I remember studying in the light of kerosene lamps. So I experienced firsthand how important it was really for um, a community to have access to energy and technology, and also the importance of a community as poor as that to work together to make ends meet. So this natural desire to help people kind of just grew with me, and eventually I naturally grew into leadership roles where I felt that this desire to help could be made a reality. So in high school, I with my barkada we ran charity programs, and at university I led the chemistry society where we did some technology or science related activities. And this became my mode of working, way of being as I continued through life and joined the energy sector where I worked for more than 20 years now. So I always found an opportunity to make a positive impact, lead a project or initiative where I could, help people be together and make into something impossible or make it possible. So wherever I was, be it oil refineries or offshore platforms or the corridors of headquarters in organizations around the world, there is always that opportunity. And in every occasion, I discovered really peeled away the many layers of who I was as a person, what I loved, what I was good at, what I was not so good at, what I could improve. And as I did that, I also discovered how to be more effective as a leader. And in being more effective as a leader, being more self aware, I also grew to understand what people's motivations are, what makes them tick, what motivates them, what their potential could be. And I think this is what helped me eventually to get to where I am now. Yeah, I think as a CEO, it is this self awareness and care for people that was really the ingredient.
Mhm. Um, you were talking about yung kanina na studying under a kerosene lamp. Isa ba yun sa mga ano ma'am, parang one of the realizations why you got into the energy sector?
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, our generation, as you know, we had a chat earlier. We have parents who would want us to pursue certain careers. So my parents wanted me to be a doctor, and I wanted to do something science related because to me, technology and being able to build things would, in my very young mind at the time, would lead me to a situation where I could maybe, help people get away from this kind of mode where why do we have brownouts all the time? Why do we have to use kerosene lamps? Are there better ways of harnessing energy to turn the lights on? So, yeah, that was pretty much my inspiration.
Mhm. In terms of your journey as a woman, did you ever felt na people were ignoring you, or maybe being intimidated by you, or you're not being listened to just because you're a woman?
I think I believe, in fact, that it is a gift. These kinds of experiences, women in general, we have certain life experiences like this, unique life experiences that helps us build a more emotional vocabulary, builds up our emotional vocabulary such that we become aware of these situations and how we would transcend this. But the task is for us to step above that and see, okay, if this is what comes out, how do I become stronger in the process? And when we become stronger in the process, we learn to really understand ourselves, build more self belief through these many different perceptions of people. And when we become stronger and we become more self-aware in this way, we also understand where people are coming from. And this is what makes women leaders pretty strong, because when we understand where others are coming from, we become more empathetic.
Yes.
We then allow people to speak up as they are, to be their authentic selves. And this kind of culture that we build in an organization is the culture that brings about collaboration and trust and empowerment. And this kind of culture, I believe, especially in the MG sector where, the stakes are high, the pressure to deliver is very high, and, movement is very fast. This is the kind of environment or culture that encourages innovation, people taking risks boldly and being brave, and therefore it propels meaningful progress. And that's why I think it's a gift. It's a gift to be ridiculed sometimes or thought less of,
Mm-mm.
because in fact that is our strength.
Mm-mm. I'll get can you cite mga major challenges that you had to go through before becoming the president and CEO of Prime Energy?
Um, Not really challenges, but more like defining moments throughout my career. There were many actually. I would think these are more like defining moments or turning points, big learning moments for me that kind of shaped who I am today. So early on in my career, I was a technologist, working mostly in the field in an oil refinery. And I was really out there, touching the steel, crawling through pipes and columns 20 floors high. So in that job, what I learned was I acquired the nose for how things work on the ground. Sometimes if you're behind the desk in the office, you come up with plans, you can't really imagine how it works in the field. So that experience helped me acquire that kind of uwido knowledge. And then the other learning for me was it helped me appreciate the hazards and the sacrifices made by our frontline workers, people who work out there really touching the steel. And so even today, it's really important to me what their plight is, how they're feeling, and what their well-being is. So frontline work is so very important. Safety become such a paramount value to me. Then midway through my career, when I became more of a strategist and asset management professional, I worked with oil and gas organizations around the world. At this point, what I learned was how important it is to be abreast of what's going on in the market, to be sensitive to how the market is flowing and moving, how your competitors are moving, and also how technology is advancing. And then how you use that, harness that to enable performance in an organization. So organizational culture is also really important. All these factors are important to unlock really outstanding business performance in any organization. And then the other thing I also learned working with many organizations around the world was how to be effective as a female Filipina leader in these different contexts, because cultures are different everywhere. They have very different perceptions of leadership. There was one time, he's a really great Dutch guy. My boss said to me, this was again another coaching session. He said, Donna, I can't figure out why your face is always open. Your face is open. All your expressions are out there. And to me, it's very natural.
Meaning pag masaya ka. When you're disappointed,
disappointed. There's
oo.
no, what you see is
Mababasa
what you
talaga
get.
nila kung ano yung...
Yes, I am a very, what you see is what you get.
Mm.
Very authentic person. Unfiltered sometimes. So, what he's basically saying is, if you're in a room and you have to be serious and you're smiling, don't smile because it seems like you are not taking what I'm saying seriously. So, we have situations like this where my personality and my culture, maybe we Filipinos are very, open,
Yes.
right? Um, I get to learn through these experiences how to be more effective at showing up as a leader and as a Filipina woman at that. Yeah, so this was another learning moment, and then last and recently is heading this organization, Prime Energy, who's and our JV consortium. We're the stewards of a critical national resource, indigenous gas. My purpose has always been, and I've reaffirmed this all these years. My purpose has always been to help people lead better lives. But this time is in a grander scale. So I have to imagine not just the the, the drivers and the values of Prime Energy as a company or Prime Infra as a holdings company. I also have to think about what's best for energy security for the people that we work with outside of our fences. So there are more considerations I need to have in order to lead effectively.
So can you walk us through your journey in becoming Prime Energy's CEO? But before that, I think the question that's lingering in my mind is, why did you not? I mean, why did you continue to be with Prime Energy? Because it was the lead consortium before was
Ah,
Shell,
yeah,
diba? And it was taken over by Prime Infra.
yeah.
So why did you continue on with the journey?
Why did I accept
Yes,
this offer?
yes. So
Yeah, it took a long time for me. Not a long time, but it wasn't an easy decision because I was in a job in an international company with a lot of promise. I could, continue being a career expat and be promoted, say, in more leadership roles outside the country. But as I shared with you earlier, I've always wanted to help Filipinos lead better lives. That's always been my dream, my purpose, and it always calls back. So when I had a chance to head this company, when I got the call, it just took me a few months of, well, a few weeks, in fact, of seeking permission. That's permission, more like support from my friends in my previous company, and telling them, hey, I have this chance to make a difference and to give back to my country. I'd like to take it, so I have to leave. Um, I've always known that there's something to be had in Malampaya. I mean, I've worked here before when it was still under Shell. I was head of safety and I was also production services lead. So I knew what potential there was out there. It's just that uh, their international companies have more stringent profitability metrics for them to approve projects. So the international company heading this business at the time just didn't want to invest. So when there was this group of brave Filipinos, starting with President Marcos, Secretary Lutilia, our shareholder Mr. Enrique Razon, our JV consortium partners, when they said, let's give this business a chance, let's drill. When I had a chance, I said, yeah, let's go for it because I knew we could do it. So yeah, that was really what drove me to continue and come back to the Philippines.
mm. So you came from being a deputy general manager and business opportunity manager, tama ma'am? And then managing director and general manager in 2023. And now you're the president and CEO of Prime Energy. How does it feel? Mas may pressure ba sa'yo? Or kamusta yung journey yun? Was it all parang a bed of roses?
It was liberating. I can tell you that. I mean, it's exciting, in fact. Of course, there's a bit of fear there and nervousness, but to me, the overall feeling is, oh my gosh, now we really have a chance to create our future. Because when I started as a deputy kind of general manager and GM of this company, the task was just to, not just to, but really to extend the life, increase the gas production of Malampaya, extend its life as soon as possible. And we had to do it fast. We had to do it fast within 4 years, in fact, because the wells in the existing field will potentially deplete between 2027 and 2029. So the initial task was for us to drill wells and produce gas from these wells in the nick of time within 4 years. So that was the um, initial sort of focus area for me as a GM. But now that we've rigged up this project, we already have Malampaya Phase 4 project, which will produce gas from the wells. We now have to think more long term. So um, what's beyond the gas coming from these two wells? This will give us maybe just 5 to 10 years of life. Beyond that, what's how do we continue to extend the life of this field or even of more fields and produce indigenous gas for the country's energy security? So that was my task now as president and CEO. It's really to start looking at the business more as a portfolio and see how do you diversify this portfolio in such a way that while you wait for these new discoveries of gas or even oil, what do we do to keep the business continue being viable? So now the other strategic focus for me and my team is to create new avenues where we could generate revenue um, by building on what we're very good at, building on our current capabilities and skills, and also utilizing our current value chains. So it's really expanding the business, creating a bigger runway such that can continue to do what we do best, which is to explore and produce gas and oil from new fields.
Kasi na-mention mo kanina, ma'am, 'di ba, na it's not really yung challenges. You're not looking at it as challenges along the way, but more of opportunities.
Yeah.
So, and then I did some research, and you started in Shell as a technology kanina na-mention mo kanina, your technologies at the Tabangao Refinery. You started as a junior staff member sa refinery in Batangas ng Shell. And your first big win was leading the Malampaya gas tie-in project around 2007, switching the refinery from diesel to gas power, which boosted profits by $15 million a year. Diba? Yeah. So, and I have a long list of all your big breaks, but of all of them, what do you consider as one of your biggest breaks?
I couldn't choose. All of them have very unique, special gifts to me. So I can't. It's hard to say, but maybe um, the hardest, most challenging, and most fulfilling project or role I've had so far is this role I have as president and CEO of Prime Energy. I mentioned earlier, right, that we had to um, drill new wells, drill and produce gas from new wells within 4 years, which is really unprecedented for an organization like this. We've been with an international company for more than 20 years, but now we have to strike out on our own for the first time. So how do we do this big project within 4 years? So I mean, there were many challenges. So allow me to just recall what we've done so far. So we we had to um, we had to deliver almost impossible. We had to deliver at speed, almost at superhuman speed. So we had to build our own wells, subsurface, subsea, and project execution team almost from scratch, right? And this project team has to deliver, and we had to do this within a year, build this team. And then this team had to deliver a project uh, at a very fast pace. And so we had to innovate the way we do projects. We had to unlearn many of the processes and habits that we acquired for over the years in terms of how we do projects. We had to be a bit more agile and aggressive. Um, and then uh, we had to establish our presence and credibility in the international market so that we can attract the right specialists and contractors to do the project with us, and also to secure financing for our project. Um, and then we had to, all of this, by the way, happened in just a year or two. And then we had to secure a long-term market for our gas. So whatever we produce, there has to be someone to buy the gas. So we had to do that to secure that long-term contract, because at the end of the day, we're a government contractor. So we did all of this in just 2 years, or just over 2 years as Prime Energy. we did this. It's unbelievable sometimes what you can actually do uh, with a really good team
Mm.
and with the belief of our shareholders like Mr. Razon, the government. We did it, and I'm really proud of my team. We have been able to maintain our Goal Zero record. So Goal Zero safety is means that we don't have any
Yeah,
fatalities and no
safe
serious,
manners.
yeah,
Yes.
no serious incidents so far. And we've been able to maintain world class production reliability. So 100% system available. Always the gas is available to customers we need it. Um, and then we've been able to, I think I could still, if you walk around our facilities, you would feel this. You would feel that there's still this culture of safety,
Yes.
honesty and integrity, respect for people, very much alive in our workplaces. It still feels like home, and where care for people is felt. That's how I feel. But of course, at the same time, we have to build more of this commercial muscle, this business person muscle in the team, and more assertiveness because we're now a fully Filipino-owned and local independent operator. So these are the things. These were the challenges that we faced, but we were able to get through this. We've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. So we must continue improving, learning, proving that we can do it. Um, I'm very proud of what we have accomplished so far, but I also have a lot of confidence that we can do it. We just have to pray really hard and just deliver.
Let's go back to the topic of women in leadership. I have here a lot of studies. So, Harvard Business Review 2020 found that women were rated more highly than men on most leadership competencies, including taking initiative, acting with resilience, practicing self development, driving for results, and displaying integrity and honesty. We have here naman McKinsey and Company's Women in the Workplace annual research report siya, which says companies with more women in leadership roles tend to perform better financially. Women leaders are more likely to champion employee well-being, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and team development. Um, Meron pang Edelman Trust Barometer found
Wow.
that people generally perceive women leaders are
Wow
more
naman.
trustworthy,
Ba?
ethical, and compassionate, especially in crisis situations. Hindi naman sa dahil, ah, kumbaga, inaano natin ng mga
Ah,
kalalakihan
ah.
pero well, this is what studies say. And then meron pang Peterson Institute for International Economics. Companies with at least 30% women in leadership could add up to 6% to net profit margins. What do you say about that? How do, in your experience, what unique perspectives do women bring to leadership roles in the energy industry in particular, and how can companies benefit from this diversity?
I think I mentioned this earlier, but I think it bears repeating. Women, I believe, bring, from our general nature and the role that we play typically in society, we often experience certain unique life situations that um, we bring, whatever we learn from these unique life situations, we bring them to the table. Um, so, for example, women are mothers. Most women probably would flex their time caring for the kids or going to work and vice versa, and men too. So what I believe women do when there are more women in the workplace is they create that diversity of life situations and perspectives that make a leadership team and an organization in general stronger. So um, uh, given the life situations that that we've experienced so far through many generations, I believe women are more what you call it, more sensitive, more open to how people are really because for us to get to where we are now as a voice in the boardroom, for example, we had to go through a lot of pain and pushing against boundaries just to be heard and just to prove ourselves. And in that process, we experience the hurt and the pain and the journey of having to really test our own self belief, and to tell people, hey, we can do this. We can do this in our own way. And because of that, we also become more sensitive or open to how others may feel, be those people, whether those people are men or women or people of other genders. So because of this openness to other perspectives based on our own experience of life and how to having to go through that career trajectory, we become more empathetic leaders
Yes. So,
who don't lead by taking control, basically by telling people, this is what you do, you just do it. We lead from behind. We lead by supporting. We lead by nurturing people to be their best selves. And this kind of style is what the rest of the leadership team, whatever gender it is, are starting to learn. And this is what I believe unlocks that greater performance that you mentioned earlier. I've experienced that so many times throughout my career. In fact, my management committee now in Prime Energy is 60% women.
mm,
And this, we didn't do this by sort of just going for a certain affirmative goal action where, there must be 60% of women
oh,
in my leadership team by hook or by crook. No, these women just, were selected because they're really good at what they do. Which means that we have started to normalize this kind of leadership style in our organizations. And it doesn't mean that the command and control style doesn't work. No, it's just that there are more styles and more strengths that we can leverage on right now. That is what we need in order to really succeed in this kind of environment or business where the market is always fluid and dynamic. Things are uncertain. You don't know what's going to come from how people behave. And this sort of empathetic approach is really your first lens into the world.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. And how is Prime Energy enabling that kind of culture?
Mm.
Enabling more women to participate, more women in leadership roles. How is Prime Energy into the mix?
We're doing this very organically. The fact that we have more women in our workforce now, so we have more women leaders in the boardroom, more women in our kind of middle management role. We also have women in the field, so we have female operators now in our offshore platform, and our very first onshore installation manager, onshore installation manager is already there leading our Batangas on onshore gas plant. So we are simply just recognizing the strength and the style and the results delivered by female leaders, and then allowing them to really just work up the ranks. So there is no such thing as, oh, you have to be a guy to be
Yeah.
able to deliver. No, we really just let the women, open the runway for them to do whatever they want to do, be it an OIM, an engineer, an accountant, anything. So there is no restriction to based on gender. Is the very first rule. The second rule is we have programs here in Prime Energy that promote diversity and inclusion and equity. There are many. I won't be able to narrate everything, but what these programs do, and in tandem with our sort of wellness programs, is to promote more of this interaction amongst employees. And the kinds of activities are such that we can do it as a mix of people. So the more interactive we are, the more we are able to promote different styles. So you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be female versus male. No,
Yes,
you can be
yes.
any
Oo.
gender. You can bring any style. You can be a finance person, an engineer, and you can all do circuit training together. We even have dance clubs here. So,
Ah, talaga?
yeah, and usually it's a mix of people. So you see, it's to me, it's a broad concept. It's not just about women and men. It's really
Yes.
about being open to everyone, whatever the authentic selves are. You're very much welcome here.
I was going to point it out na hindi siya competition. It's not na
Yeah.
what you can do, I can do better.
No,
Hindi
absolutely
ganon.
no.
Parang equality. Pantay-pantay tayong lahat. What you can
Yes.
do, I can also do.
Yes.
Ganon lang.
And
Simple as
and
that.
gender is not a filter to it or a consideration. You can be anybody here in Prime Energy if you prove yourself, if you have results, whatever gender you are, you can, come.
do
Mm-mm.
it. Yeah.
Mm-mm. Okay.
And we will support you.
You were recently elected as chairperson of the Philippine Petroleum Association of the upstream industry. Can you tell us what the role of PAP is in ensuring the country's energy security?
Yeah. So, but first of all, I'm really very honored to have been elected the chairperson of the Philippine Petroleum Association of the upstream industry. So, what we do really is this is a body of industry leaders, and what we do is work with ourselves and other industry leaders and policymakers to ensure that we responsibly develop our indigenous resources. So how we do it is we share knowledge, we share experiences, we get together regularly, and then when required, we do work together as a collective to on matters of strategic relevance or strategic importance to our industry. So be it an advocacy for regulations or just a project. So it's very important to us that we develop our indigenous resources, but do it in an environmentally responsible and safe manner. So this is where our collective intelligences come together.
Mm-mm. Correct me if I'm wrong, 12 to 13 years na walang expiration. Is
Yeah,
that right?
12 to 13 years of no gas exploration
Mm-mm.
of this scale that we're doing in Prime Energy, the Malampaya Phase 4
Mm-mm.
project.
So yung project Sinagtala will be the first one.
Yeah.
Wow!
After more than a decade.
Galing, galing.
So yeah.
Din sa role niyo sa PAP, PAP is supporting the government for this bid round, right?
The
So,
big,
2024 bid round, you made parang may malaki kayong participation dun, you
yeah,
supported the project.
yeah.
Is there going to be a next one?
So we've participated in bid rounds. So we assess the blocks that the DOE put up for those who are interested to participate. And we continue to look at blocks around the Philippines that we can explore. So that's part of our program. The PAP is doing the same. So members of the PAP are also very, very actively participating in these bid rounds. So maybe just allow me to share what we're doing with Malampaya Phase 4. So Malampaya Phase 4 project is really our answer to the government. When the Service Contract 38 was renewed in May 2023, we committed to drill 2 wells. These 2 wells are tapping into the existing Malampaya Reservoir, and it will produce gas by 2026. So we're drilling this year, produce gas in 2026. So that was our commitment because we really want to extend the life of this field of Malampaya, continue to produce indigenous gas for the country's energy security, and then go beyond, look for more. So by doing Malampaya Phase 4 project, and by also drilling a new exploration well, which I can talk about later. This is Bagong Pag-asa. So we're drilling a third well, an exploration well in a new field called Bagong Pag-asa, which, if it's a success, if there's gas discovered there, it can also then extend the life of Malampaya even beyond the two Malampaya Phase 4 wells. So we will continue to do this. This is really the core of our business, exploration and production. And this is our answer as a member of the PAP. This is what we're really here in it for a long run. We want to serve the country as an indigenous gas producer for many decades to come. So we are also playing a long game, basically.
So let's go back to Malampaya. For the benefit of everybody, can you give us yung parang overview of the Malampaya Deepwater Gas to Power Project and its significance to the Philippine energy landscape in terms of revenue to the government, economic growth, the jobs that job security or energy security, and even environmental protection?
Yeah, so Malampaya has been in operation for more than 20 years, since 2001. And so just to visualize how it looks like, we have wells in offshore Palawan. So these are wells in more than 800 meters deep water depth. So our facility, so we have a Malampaya offshore gas platform, also in offshore Palawan, extracts the gas from these wells, processes the gas, and then conveys the gas through a 504-kilometer pipeline that skirts Mindoro and then crosses the Verde Island Passage and then crosses Batangas Bay and then delivers the gas to gas power plants in Batangas. At its peak, Malampaya produced up to 40% of Luzon's fueled 40% of Luzon's electricity requirements. Today, because our gas is not as much as it was before, we produce 20% of Luzon's energy needs. But when needed, when we have to peak our production to supply the grid, for example, when there's a red or yellow alert, we can go as high as what our levels were before. So that's what we do. Now, over those 20 years, we've delivered $13.8 billion of revenue to the government. So really, it's one of the government's biggest
Yes,
revenue
oo.
generators. And over the years, it has also reduced the country's dependence on imported fuel.
Mm.
So when Malampaya came about, it also was a time when the Philippines was reeling from the effects from so many rolling brownouts, the effects of the oil crisis at the time in the 1990s. So there was a clamor for our own fuel resources because we were importing oil, and so we had brownouts. So Malampaya helped reduce our dependence on imported fuel, and therefore help with energy security, but also it helps stabilize electricity prices because Malampaya gas is priced in such a way that uh, whenever there are spikes in the price of imported fuel, such as LNG, it remains stable. It just kind of lags like this. So when it does that, it dampens the effect of the volatility of imported fuels on our electricity prices. So overall, it therefore leads to lower electricity prices. It continues to do that today because today, as I remember from my team's report, Malampaya gas price was about 12.2 or $12.8 per million British thermal units, whereas imported LNG imported to the country was landed cost was $15.3 per million British thermal units. So it really helps pull down our electricity prices.
Mm.
Yeah.
And from there, may ripple effect yan to consumers, di ba?
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
pagka mas mababa yung electricity prices, syempre, mababa din yung ibang ibang mga prices, di ba?
Yes, yes. The other important point I'd like to make is Malampaya gas is always here. It's within the country. You just turn on the valve and it's there, right? So this security of supply is the other advantage of having an indigenous gas source. Whereas if, with imported fuels like imported LNG or coal, if there is a war or a disruption of supply of imported fuels, you won't be able to get it even if you need it. That's why it's really important to keep our domestic fuel supply up.
Mm.
Yeah.
But the problem is, depleting na ang Malampaya.
Yeah.
So, and you came in at the time na paubos na rin siya.
Yeah.
In a few years' time, 2027.
Half is previous capacity.
Yes, you came in 2022. And
yes,
and it's projected na by 2027, ubos na siya. So, how was
between
this?
27 and 29-ish.
How has this challenge affected your strategy? How are you addressing this challenge?
Yeah, as mentioned earlier, the first order of the day was really to rig up a project to drill 2 new wells and produce gas from these wells. So we had to do it in the nick of time. And we couldn't do it the same way we did it before, otherwise it would have been slow. Typically, for projects like this, of this scale, you would need maybe 3 to 5 years just to set up the project and then another 2 years to drill. We had to do all of this within 4 years. So we had to set up the team within 1 to 2 years. So the challenge for us was how to innovate, deliver all this while we transform into a fully Filipino owned and operated company that doesn't have the sort of the support system of an international company anymore. We had to do it ourselves. So we had to do it as in a more agile way, believing in our own capabilities, harnessing our own capabilities, and then just do it. There's no other way. I think just to get that project up and running, and then from there start building that resilience in the business so that while the project is running, you can continue generating revenue, operating safely, and then create a even more long-term future for Prime Energy. It's not just because these 2 wells would probably get us 5 to 10 years of more life. We're in it for the long run. We want decades of delivery of energy security for the country. So then explore for new wells, diversify the business. So we're looking at it, beyond Malampaya Phase 4.
So you're building 2 wells sa
Mm.
Camago and two fields, Camago and Malampaya East.
Yeah.
And then you're going to build a new one.
Ah.
So parang ang mangyayari is why are you building 2 new wells dun sa existing fields na yun?
So Camago is a well that will be drilled in the existing reservoir. So it's just, imagine this being one tank, and then magpopoke ka lang ng hole in the same tank. So there's gas there. The second well, Malampaya, is slightly a little bit away, but is also tapping on the same sort of kitchen, as we call it, same production system. So very high probability of gas there. So these 2 wells are production wells. We will tie in these wells to the existing platform to produce gas in 2026. And that will increase our production levels from what it is now, so that we can continue supplying our gas power plants for maybe 5-10 years, let's see. The third well is an exploration well. So it is going to drill in a different field called Bagong Pag-asa, which is a totally different play. It has high probability of having gas there because it's kind of tapping into the same area as Malampaya. So why it is important to drill an exploration well there is because we have to start the process of discovering new sources of indigenous gas, even oil. Because to develop such a resource, from discovery of the resource up to production, can take maybe 5 to 7 years. So we have to start early. So when we drill Bagong Pag-asa also this year and find out what's in there within the year, then we would know, okay, we can further develop this field into and tie it into Malampaya to supplement the depletion of the 2 new wells that we're about to drill this year also. So it's like, this is the kind of process that we go through in an exploration and production business. You produce gas from a field, you explore for others so that you can continue producing gas when this existing field depletes, you have another one to supplement it, and so on. So it's a kind of cyclical business what we have. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. 2 new wells that you're doing right now, kumbaga, sisimutin niya yung mga nasa Cabago and sa Malampaya East.
Yes.
Okay. And then the other one, yung exploration well, bagong-bago ito.
Yes, it's a new one.
And how positive are we na merong, paano kung
We, our geologists, and these are some of the best in the world, will always say, we can never be certain. Because, at the end of the day, the geology is the geology, physics is physics, and this is the uncertainty and the risk that businesses like ours tend to carry. So exploration is very risky business. We're very lucky that we have a government that's bold enough to make this stand. And also we have shareholders who are brave enough to take this risk. They believe that we can do it. So we have Mr. Enrique Zon, our JV consortium partners, who are kind of, go for it. Because
everybody placed their bets on you talaga.
Yeah, and it's amazing to imagine the faith that fellow Filipinos have on a Filipino crew like ours. So if this so our geologists would say, we can never be too certain. There's a certain probability of this existing, but we also used our expertise and very advanced seismic imaging and technology to be able to map out where in our existing blocks we should drill. So Bagong Pag-asa is one. So really, fingers crossed, we're praying hard, but
we're rooting for you.
Yes. So we're making a very educated bet on what we believe is the right place to drill. So that's what Bagong Pag-asa is about.
And you're starting it this year.
Yeah.
Hanggang kailan yon?
By end of this year, we will finish.
Really? Kasi I was doing my research, yung Camago was discovered 1989.
Yeah,
pero hindi siya yung hindi wells, hindi na-drill siya hanggang 2001, right? And kayo, you're starting it this year, and by next year, up na siya, up and running, tama?
Yes, that's the plan. So we will drill this year, we will finish by end of this year, and then next year is when we tie in. So when we say tie in, you kind of lay a pipe that connects the wells to the existing Malampaya platform so that the gas flows from the pipe to the platform. And then we send it again to this 504-kilometer pipeline up to our customers in Batangas.
How are you going to do that in 1 year?
Kaya nga eh. That's the magic of what we're doing. I mean, I'm really proud of this team. I don't think we would have been able to do this as fast as this if it were not us being independent and kind of doing things the way we believe we should do things. So I said earlier the word liberating. That's exactly how it feels. But we've been able to do it. We've been able to rig up this project within a year. And now we're going to drill this year and then tie it in next year. I mean, how are we doing this? We have to just
And with
do
a
it
lot of
fast.
support from Prime Infra.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. So we have we've had so much support and really top-notch support from our holdings company, our Prime Infra, and our shareholder, Mr. Razon, to do this. So we've tapped on the commercial expertise of Prime Infra and also the regulatory expertise of Prime Infra to lay the sort of the ingredients for us to be able to do this project well and unhampered. That's why I said earlier, it's so important that we make our current business very robust, don't have any mishaps, because whatever we earn from the gas that we sell today, we are reinvesting it on this project.
And very important nga, yung safe man hours nyo. Kasi pag may nangyaring incident, tigil.
Stop.
Diba?
Yeah.
Oo.
It's also very important that we have the regulatory support of the government. And that's why the DOE awarded us the Energy Project of National Significance, this Malampaya Phase 4 project, because the DOE wants to commit, this is the DOE's commitment to support the project through the various permitting requirements and other needs for the project to go on smoothly.
Are there any new technologies or innovations being implemented that will enhance efficiency sa mga projects ng Prime Energy right now?
Yeah, absolutely. For us to deliver this project in such a constrained time frame, we have to use cutting edge technologies, modeling tools, seismic imaging, so that we can, drill in the right place. And we're also working with top-notch geologists, geophysicists, and modelers around the world to not only to deliver the project, but also to teach our own local Filipino talents how to do it. So we're building our own local capability as we do this project. And then the way we do the project is also important, because with such a constrained time frame, we can't do the usual very classical way of doing things. So for example, in drilling the wells, there's a certain sequence that we have to follow, but our team has come up with a way to do it such that the drilling time is minimized. And so it's and also the uncertainty is also reduced during the drilling campaign. So there are things like this that we're doing. We're attacking not just we're not attacking, but we're leveraging the tools that we're using. We're improving on the processes, and we're building or utilizing the expertise of the right people. Yeah.
So if successful, how could the Bagong Pag-asa well contribute to the Philippines' energy mix and reduce reliance on imported fuels and even coal?
So, Bagong Pag-asa, if successful and we are able to utilize it from or get it going from discovery to production, it can possibly add another decade or even more, we'll see, of indigenous gas supply to the country. What it will do then is to contribute to the proportion of natural gas that the DOE has set up or planned for in the Philippine energy mix. And why it's very important is because natural gas continues to be, I believe, this is my firm belief, is the best complement to renewable energy. Natural gas fired power plants are dynamic enough and continues to be very reliable as it swings along with the intermittency of renewable sources like solar or wind. So we do need natural gas continually in our energy mix. Now, whether it would eventually replace other baseload sources such as coal remains to be seen. Bagong Pag-asa is just the first step. When we succeed here, I hope that it would encourage more exploration of indigenous resources in the country, not just by Prime Energy, but also by other companies. Because then we are proving that we can do it. We can do it in such a short time frame. So with more exploration, we hope that there would be more incentivization of these kinds of activities, exploration and then production. And therefore, with more indigenous resources, we can then start supplementing or replacing imported fuel sources. So that's the dream. Now, it is therefore really important that the government continues to support this. So it's really good that recently the president signed the downstream natural gas law, because the downstream natural gas law is one of the ways we incentivize continued exploration and production of our indigenous gas resources.
In addition to indigenous gas, Prime Infra, your parent company as a whole, has been active in promoting sustainability through renewable energy projects.
Yeah.
How do you think these projects could contribute to the growth of the country's energy sector?
The Prime Infra's portfolio really is, to me, the perfect kind of answer, the perfect mix of solutions to the country's energy future, because Prime Infra is fostering or nurturing an indigenous gas and even oil sector that complements the company's renewables portfolio. So with this in tandem, we have, I believe, an answer, a solution to the country's or the government's push for a sustainable energy future. I subscribe to Prime Infra's slogan or battle cry, and it goes like this: build better lives and resilient economies through critical infrastructure. So that's what we're doing. So Malampaya is a critical national infrastructure. Prime Infra's renewable projects, including the pump storage, is also a critical national infrastructure. So we're kind of building that ecosystem already, starting to build that ecosystem for that future, a resilient economy and sustainable energy future.
Ms. Donna, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Your insights have shed light on the critical role of indigenous gas in the future of energy landscapes.
Isang oras pala yun.
Yes,
Oh my
but
God.
we can always have a new another podcast, a
Yeah.
series of podcasts para you can always update us.
Yeah,
Diba?
of course, absolutely.
Yes. So before we end, do you have any final thoughts? And especially that we're still celebrating Women's Month, na sinabi ko nga, dapat nga evergreen eh. Parang Valentine's Day lang yan, di ba? Dapat
Yeah.
hindi March lang ang Women's Month. Dapat every month, every day, we're empowering each other. So what words of encouragement would you like to share with women making strides in the energy sector?
Thank you, Mai, again for inviting me to this podcast. What I'd like to say to my fellow women, and not just the women, all the leaders out there or aspiring leaders, lead with confidence. Believe in yourself. Don't let limitations self-imposed or imposed by others stop you from going for what you want. Always take your power. Put yourself out there, because when you believe you can do it, you can actually make it happen.
No second guessing, take the leap.
Take the leap, just do it. You may fall, you may get hurt, but you will become stronger in the process, and you will learn to love. You will learn to love yourself and love others unconditionally. I think the greatest leaders are those who lead with love.
Once again, thank you, Prime Energy President and CEO, Ms. Donnabel Kuizon-Cruz, for joining us. We look forward to more conversations with you in the future. That wraps up today's Power Podcast. Tune in next time as we converse with the movers and shakers of the country's energy sector. For your comments and suggestions, shoot us a message on Power Philippines Facebook Messenger account or email us at news.powerph@gmail.com. And of course, stay updated on the country's energy sector by visiting www.powerphilippines.com and by liking us on Facebook. If you want to view the podcast again, check out our YouTube channel at Power Philippines News. I'm Mai Tanglao. Have a powerful day ahead.